Yeah, pretty cool insights, man. And what about the weekly, Simon? What's the weekly optimization tasks that are going on usually?
Yeah, so then in our processes in our agency, one of the weekly tasks that I recommend is once a week look at your bleeders. So, when you're running broad phrase or auto campaigns, it's really important to realize that the things that might be costing you are actually in the search term report. So it's not actually the keywords that you put in; it's a variation, or it's a spin-off of that word.
Hmm.
So you'll want to make sure you're looking at the search term report and that you're doing a negative exact on those keywords and removing and eradicating those keywords that are being generated by the auto system of Amazon. So that's we call that the weekly keyword bleeder management. So anything that's bleeding you a lot of money, then you will want to lower the bids on or just pause those keywords. So that's one of the processes for weekly. Another weekly process that we feel that it's very important to do is managing your placement adjustments. Excuse me, your top of search or your product placement adjustment. And so if you're performing really well on top of search, then that's where a lot of the conversions come in. So you might want to increase. If your ACoS is really low, then increase your TOS a little bit. Make it higher, drive some more traffic to there, win more, get a higher share of impressions and against your competitors. So that's I think, a very important process as well for weekly. The third one is also adjusting your PPC strategy, your bidding strategy. As you guys might have heard in Exact or in your sponsored product campaigns, you can set a bid strategy for fixed, up and down, or down only. So, if you have an amazing conversion rate, if your conversion rate is like, let's say 50% on some keywords in your PPC, if you set it to up and down, then you're only going to gain from that. Your ads are just going to work better. You've already proven yourself to work really well. So, you can let the Amazon algorithm for up and down is actually becoming really good. We're finding, and that they're really discovering buyer intent. They're understanding the customer better. So this strategy has really been improved and is working really well for us. So that's number 3 for weekly. And number 4 is, we have a strategy for a no impressions. So sometimes you'll find that you upload a bunch of keywords, right, and they're just not working. Well, what do? Well, we come in and every week we will increase those bids by, let's say, 10 to 15% to try to give it some impressions, to try to give it a boost, try to get it going. And that really helps with generating more impressions, more clicks. That's a very great weekly process as well. So we mentioned 4 absolutely amazing strategies there for weekly optimizations that are just very effective and highly recommended.
So weekly, man, it sounds like once a week we're trying to optimize our PPC and maybe sort of to make it grow. So once a week, it's not as daily. Daily, it's less of maybe you do change things, but once a week, it seems like you are overlooking your stuff. And maybe, as you mentioned, first one, if something's bleeding, if you see for 1 week, you give it time, like a whole week on Amazon. That's interesting also, by the way, because from what I know on Amazon, like some days are, for example, we sell barbecue related products, and I don't know why Sundays are strongest days, right? So once you have all the 7 days of a week, so that gives you some insight on a weekly basis. That's just what I want to say, like, because different days of the week are different. And here, boom, a week goes, and then based on that week, we optimize. So as I mentioned, let's say bleeders was the first one. Bleeder means a keyword
Yeah.
that is bleeding money that doesn't convert well. We can optimize that bleeder, see what we do about it. And the second one was, man, please remind me, Simon.
Top of search adjustment. So if you're doing really well on top of search and you can look at your placement report, then you can increase the top of search for those. As most products, they'll convert best on top of search. So, if you're converting well there very well, then get yourself up there. Get yourself on top of page 1.
Yeah. And then number 3 was, you called
Was
it
the up and down
up and down.
strategy or your bidding strategy, your up and down versus your fixed versus your down only. So anything that's performing really well for you up and down, switch it to up and down and keep your eye on it, because every week come back to it and review it. That's part of our process as well, and our system. And then number 4 was
impressions. You mean like if there's something that a keyword, something that does not get impressions, not enough, and you try to make it get impressions.
That's right. Yeah. So if it's just dead, it's got no impressions, you look at that keyword, you're like, man, this is an amazing keyword. We know we should be performing for this keyword. It has a really high search volume. It's very relevant to mine, but I'm just not getting any impressions here. Come in and once a week, try to give that keyword a little bit of a boost and try to give it a little bit of a push. So that's one of our systems as well that we do automatically every week. And it's a very highly effective process. So those 4 weekly things are very effective and highly recommended.
Very interesting, man.